And I'm still not seeing Jerry just yet. Should we hold off for her to start? Oh, there she
Sorry, I
is.
couldn't find my tool for turning off and on the mic. I think we can start because I know that her program ends at 6 o'clock, so it should be ending anytime soon. And perhaps she can, she's just running a little bit late.
No, she's here. I see her.
Oh, she's here. Awesome.
Welcome,
Okay.
Jerry.
Hi, I'm excited to be back. And just to let you know, I have a new location. So my bungalow that I'm at is really cool. It comes with this neat thing called internet that glitches. So if I freeze, it lasts 3 seconds, I promise. And then we get right back on. It's technology at its best. So if you could present the slide deck.
Jerry, we haven't started.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought we were started.
I don't know what happened. No, we haven't started. We're gonna start in just a minute.
I think
I recognize some faces. I'm excited.
we appreciate you coming back.
Oh, I'm super excited. When Esther reached out, I was like, oh, yes.
Ashley or Laura, you both have a co-host. Can you make Jerry a co-host, please?
Yes.
If you hover over to their names, you're gonna see 2 little blue boxes appear. And I forgot what the second one. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing really quick just so that I can make her a co-host, okay?
Okay.
And then we can start again. So sorry, I don't see how to make her a co-host with presenting, so.
I can't see it either. It's disappeared. But
Okay, I made her co-host, so Jerry, you now will have access to when is your presentation.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
I think we can probably go ahead and get started. We waited just a few minutes. And
can I interrupt really quickly? I'm
Yes.
so sorry. Esther, I'm sorry. I'm on 2 devices, so I can see what I'm presenting and then from one device and present from the other one. But you made me a co-host, I think, on the one that I'm not presenting from.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Sorry about that, you guys.
Okay. So Laura, you are on 2 devices then. Okay, let me make you on the second one. I see one. What's the name of your, oh, here it is. Your guest.
It's just the one where, yeah. Sorry.
No, that's okay. It was there a minute ago.
it did disappear. I saw it.
Yes. Okay, I got it. You have a co-host now on both devices.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Ashley, whenever you are ready.
Okay. Would you be so kind as to put the slides back up for the moment? And welcome everybody. Sorry, we're getting started a few minutes late. We wanted to give everyone a chance to join our meeting. I know it's a busy middle of the week meeting for many of us, many busy parents. So today, of course, is February 8th, 2023. Please keep your mic on mute. Unmute your mic when you do need to speak. Use the chat box for questions or comments, and know that this meeting is being recorded. If you are in need of interpretation, Spanish interpretation, you can click the globe at the bottom of your screen. That will transfer you to a different audio line that will have interpretation for you. Same meeting. Bienvenidos, welcome. And that's me, Ashley Peak. I'm the president of Somos DLI. We also have with us tonight, Jacqueline Murillo, our vice president.
Buenas tardes, parents.
And alongside us, not this evening, but in our group is Allison Yorungari. I think she's missing from our meeting tonight, but she is our secretary. And we have a fourth person in our group now. Her name is Bianca Corrales, and she is our communications board member. And of course, this group is a partnership of parents and educators. So we have Miss Esther Garcia, our coordinator for English learners, TK through 12th.
Hi, everyone. And
And
Mrs.
Patricia.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say, Mrs. Thetford's not able to be with us tonight.
Oh, okay. And she is our TOSA. And if you don't know what that means teacher on special assignment, working for the district as a content writer for dual language immersion, K through 12. And again, this is your story, your voice, Somos DLI monthly meeting. Some background, if this is your first meeting with us, Somos meaning we are. Some goals we have are to provide resources to DLI families to ensure success, to foster communication between school sites, parents, and district, to enhance engagement of all stakeholders, encourage ideas and opportunities for students, and develop a roadmap for families. Our agenda is pretty full tonight. We have K through 6 mathematics and a guest speaker with that, after school programs and opportunities for DLI students, and another guest speaker, both returning guest speakers actually this evening. We have future events updates and K through 12 updates. And without further ado, I'll introduce to you Miss Laura Ferreira, and she has been with us before, and she's here to speak about K through 6 mathematics.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully, it's giving me a warning sign. So, uh-oh. Of course, this happens, right? It doesn't want to let me share my screen.
It's always when you're on record and you're live in a meeting.
Yeah.
So what I did is I just added one additional slide and I wanted to just kind of review quickly as not to spend too much time because we're all familiar now with Hearts. It's we are now fully open. So I'm really excited about that. In prime time, we open STEM Academy as well. So I'm very excited about that. Miller will be in the summer. And so this is really where it gets interesting. As we experienced in November, our first exploration days, we went according to the parent survey. So it was a quick turnaround, but it was our first try. And so something that just resonated with our department was that, you know, that was 2-day offering, but what if for spring, we make sure to cluster our dual language immersion students so that they have more practice with oral language in the target language. So we're trying it. And I'm looking forward to some feedback from parents in the survey when we have our spring exploration days. So this is really where I'm going to spend the bulk of our time tonight. Is that every elementary DLI site has a Hearts program, and also our middle schools as well now. Our BGC, which is Boys and Girls Club, that's who we partner with for our elementary sites, have a focus on recruiting bilingual staff to support with homework at our DLI sites. So we, as you know, staffing has been interesting for the past couple of years, but as Boys and Girls Club has onboarded 300 staff members this year, I just want that to sink in. And then on top of that, you know, we did some inventory and I started going, okay, I need you to verify at these sites who you hired that is fluent Spanish speaker. And so we noticed some discrepancies. So when we we met for our monthly meeting in November with the CEO, and we talked about that needing to be a hiring focus. And so we have really looked at, as we add staff or move staff around, that we try to make sure our bilingual tutors are placed at our DLI sites, because their hiring practice, which I understand was closest to them, to the tutors, what is closest to where you want to work. So if you're a student, or is it close to university? Is it close to your home? And they used to staff that way. So they've had to add some additional layers. And then when we last spoke, I was excited because Scholastic had agreed to the literature component for an ELOP offering, not necessarily a hearts offering, but an additional offering after school. We had a literature component, and it was called Lit League, but it was all in English. It was purchased for all the existing sites last year, but only in English. So when we were opening the rest of our sites, you know, we needed to purchase some more. And part of that contract was, I need you to create authentic, mirroring the 7 strengths, but authentic Spanish text that goes along with it. And they did. They assembled their team, not only across the country, but I got to meet some that work in other countries. And so they did. And the books have arrived. And this week we had our first teacher training. There were a few teachers that came out to be trained in Lit League and Lit League in Espanol. And so we're going to dabble a little bit at some sites. It's going to be super small. And then we're hoping that in the fall, to get in July, to get more teachers trained that would like to do this after school for a couple hours a week. But what we are looking at is, because we understand that they're tough. But so we're going to expand it. We're going to contact our bilingual guest teachers, our substitute teachers as well, and offer them the training in July, so that we are coming with a team of bilingual people that are open to helping at our DLI schools with tutoring and with a Lit League, and just being there to be able to support in Spanish. So I'm really excited about that. I think the target language is important, and that because as the students go into 4th and 5th grade, those in 6th grade, those students that need more English practice, that's an easy fix for us in the after school world, but it's making sure that you have someone that's truly bilingual supporting. Okay, so that's a focus for us, and I'm really excited. We have opened, like I said, at every elementary and middle school site except Miller. And then our exploration days began in November, and spring exploration days will cluster DLI students to promote oral language development. And so we're working on, okay, what does that look like? It's a lot of work. It's like, what does that look like to mirror some things that we're doing? It won't be the whole day, because there are just some things we cannot do. But for example, if our theme, if we stick with, I'm just saying, if we stick with animal habitats, then we'll look for authentic Spanish materials to offer that the language and the reading and the fun crafts that go along with it, with the directions in Spanish. And then depending on what we choose and how many bilingual staff members we have for our focus in the afternoon, because you get to pick electives for your child. So some schools will be in the morning with their electives, and some schools will be in the afternoon. And so we're going to make sure that we provide directions with in Spanish for our tutors, so that it can be a truly bilingual experience. So that's what makes me really excited, is to try it. You know, nothing goes perfect your first time. We learn a lot, but it's really making sure that we support our kiddos with their experiences. And that makes me excited, because I know that in the past, you know, when we do offer extra things, sometimes it's really difficult to make sure that we have enough bilingual support. But we're really working with our Boys and Girls Club members, and they understand that this is a passion for our department and a priority for our district. So that I'm open to questions, because I was really excited to give this update. Esther was like, do you have an update? I was like, I sure do. And I apologize. I actually had a Coca-Cola right now, so I'm really hyper. So is there any questions or just throw them at me, and if I don't know the answer, I will find it. Okay.
I actually have a question. If no one else is going to step out, it's Ashley. I was curious about enrolling mid-year into Hearts, and is that something that you can do if your child is not actively in Hearts already? Is that something you entertain late enrollees?
Up until the last week of school.
Okay,
So what it does, but however, so like I'm going to give an authentic issue that we have at some sites. We have space, and at other sites we do not. And so, like, for example, at Washington, they had a wait list for a while. So the focus was, you will find, we need to focus on Washington. Even though we were opening other sites, it was, how can we add staff? And then also on that caveat, I got word, oh no, we added a tutor. I said, are they bilingual? Because they had hired some bilingual staff in the beginning of the year, but they actually left the program. So, you know, it's when you're replacing, make sure you're replacing with bilingual as well, so that they have that support as a DLI site. So I'm happy to say that at Washington, when we came back in January, that they started adding students. And it does have to go by grade level. So for example, the laws for TK and K are different. It's a 10-to-1 ratio. So they may be full and we may not be able to add a TK and K. They may be on the wait list for a while. But with a 1-to-20 ratio in 1st through 6th grade, it's much easier to add once we add staff. And so that really is looking at the space availability, because we have to stick within our ratios. And we can go a little over in 1st through 6th grade, but we cannot go over in TK and K. But yeah, so it is quite possible. And it just depends on your site. And the one great thing about our ELOP funds, which is the new funds that have been received, Washington was an original ACES site, as was Jefferson, Longfellow, Mountain View, and Fremont. So they were original ACES. That's an after-school grant, but they were held to what they were awarded. So the 100% target for Washington was 83 kids a day. That's a small program. And they were staffed for that, because you can't go over. They're only funded for that, right? Well, whereas Longfellow, their original funding was for 220 students. And that's hard to fill. I was the former principal, let me tell you. But that's a lot of staff on your campus also after school. With ELOP funds, we've been able to put more tutors in. So like at Mountain View, their program has grown exponentially. Jefferson's target has always been 239 students. It's been difficult to get the staffing for that amount, but it's also difficult to get kids who can come every day, all day, right? So we're excited about the ELOP funds and what that's done for the program. That infusion has allowed us to grow in places like Washington, allowed us to put an after-school program in Castleview. I am so proud of Castleview's program. You know, they started with over 100 students. Like, that's amazing. I had to really go, please staff them, because you know, we need that at the school. It was a need. And so the same with Washington. If there was an existing site, I said, you know, we have an existing site, we need the staff to match the need. And so we did. And it was difficult with the staffing issues and hiring, but I want to say, and I'm going to knock on wood, we're kind of going over the hump on that now. Things have shifted. And so I'm really pleased. A lot of information, but I think it's important to gain that perspective of really how exponential. So last year they served between 1,500 and 2,000 students. We're over 3,500 students a day. We're a little busy. So, but that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Any other questions?
Jerry, we do have some questions in the chat. They are asking, does All Hearts have a DLI tutor? And that same person is also asking, on minimum days, is there Hearts?
Okay, so DLI schools have Spanish-speaking tutors there. We have been increasing. So when someone quits, we look to replace it, like I was stated. But one thing we're working on especially with our newbies, is are we placing it so that during homework time, the Spanish, the kids are able to go to the Spanish speaking tutors? Because, for example, if there's only one 4th grade class and your child's 4th grade DLI, and they're mixed with English only students, and there's an English only tutor, are they really being supported? So we're working on that, and that's actually part of our agenda for our February 16th professional development. And professional development, the reason I bring that up is because we were asked, is there hearts on minimum days? So we typically in years past have not held hearts on minimum days. This year, in the beginning of the year, we did hold the first minimum day. We did host hearts. However, the next one, February 16th, no hearts. And the school sites have been informed. So hopefully that's being communicated, because we like to have that in advance as a parent, because I have to look for alternative daycare. But February 16th, what we're doing with the elementary sites is the TOSAs will report to where we're hosting the professional development. And and then all of our Boys and Girls Club staff, because as you can imagine, we started out with 180 in the beginning of the year, and we're now over 300. While they've been getting trained as they've been hired, they haven't had the in-depth training that we provide. So they will come during their working hours to our professional development center, and they will receive professional development in how to engage the students with classroom management techniques, who may need more support. When helping with homework, how do you circulate? How do you get the most impact? And then also how to use the curriculum that we provide. We provide an outdoor curriculum for PE for them. We provide an art curriculum, and we do provide other supports for SEL. They have curriculum for that, so social emotional learning. So they'll be receiving that. So no hearts on minimum day for February 16th. And so I hope I answered those questions that were presented. Did I? I hope
Yes,
so.
you did great.
Okay.
Thank you, Jerry. I think we have two more. One is stating, does Jefferson have availability for hearts? Is that something that they just need to check with their
They
school site?
check with the TOSA, because students drop daily, students enter daily. Check with the TOSA, and that is one site, because they are such a large site. Like at one point they had 18 tutors and they were full, because if you have TKKs, remember that takes up a lot of tutors. And so definitely when in December, when they're the ones that go to school that are in college, when their class schedules changed, so did their availability. So we're having to fill those. But yes, definitely check with your TOSAs. Unfortunately, I do not have all 36 sites availability memorized, so I apologize, but the TOSA will be able to tell you.
And the last question we have, are exploration days only for heart students?
No, they are open to all students. However, if we do not have enough staffing, because we go according to safety and staffing, right? And we have to go along also with our numbers, ratios that the state requires. Then we go by the state process of what ELOP funds get priority, what students get priority with those funds. And the first is homeless and foster, ELs, unduplicated students, unduplicated when we look at socioeconomically disadvantaged. However, we haven't been turning away kids in the after school program, and it's funded the same way. Now, when they sign up late and they get on a wait list, that's different, right? So as long as we have the staffing, we do it. So we're working on the staffing, and we'll have, that's why we are starting the application process. We started it now. We already have over 650 students signed up, very excited. And then we are putting out availability for our Boys and Girls Club members and our TOSAs to work over spring break. And we're already getting really good feedback. Any other questions?
One last one came in. How do you measure DLI performance for tutors and hearts? For example, are students getting the help that they need?
Okay, so we're really for help for intervention needs, that's through the school as far as they provide intervention after school. It's their own plans. Hearts, for example, we offer academic support, but one layer that we do have at some sites is we have what's called College Core. It used to be AmeriCorps from UCR, and there are some sites that have College Core students. And when they need additional hours, we have them work, in their work study program in our program. So they have kids who are listed as needing intervention, and they work with those kids in small group. We also have some sites that also have what's called Little Bigs, and they come once a week, and they're trained high school students that come in and support the kids. We're adding more and more. In fact, we are looking at adding more tutors for next year from different companies as well. So we are looking at that as a possibility. And I think it's a really good, strong possibility. It's just making sure we actually get the physical bodies. Like everyone promises they can get you the people, the companies, but it's very difficult. So we want to make sure that we do that. I've read the comments. I look at the parent surveys. And that was something that we saw numerous parents. Those parent surveys are really important. So please encourage your friends to fill them out because we do take the comments and we dissect it. And when it says we really would like smaller group for homework time to actually help the kids with their homework, then we want to make sure, how do we do that? How do we go about doing that? And sometimes it's outside the box. Sometimes it's, are there high school students that want to come and volunteer? And can we do that? And so with a lot of the restrictions from COVID lifting, it's been a blessing because we're able to go back to some things that we used to do and provide.
I think that's it for questions. Jerry Castro, thank you so much for coming back to us.
Of course, and I hope to receive some feedback after the exploration days. We're going to put out a survey. Please let us know how we did if your students attend, and know that we really, really, really want to make sure that we start to build that partnership with our specialty programs. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jerry. Jerry, could you mention the next exploration day? There was one last question in our.
It's the 20th through the 24th, but here I have it up on my computer screen actually. But the application closes the 15th. The application was sent out via email to all TK through 6th grade parents, and school sites should be posting that as well. Okay.
Thank you, Jerry, so much.
Thank you, Jerry. And thank you, Jackie, for catching that last question. Sorry, I didn't see it in the chat. Do we have Miss Laura back with us? Miss Laura Ferreira?
I'm back. I'm going to try again.
You're back. Thank you for joining us again, and it's all yours.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So now it is letting me share my screen. So yay for that. The small victories. All right, hello everyone. My name is Laura Ferreira, and I am the Instructional Services Specialist for Elementary Math in the district. And tonight, I'm going to be showing you some resources that you can use to support your students with elementary math. So first, we're going to talk about Eureka, which can also be called Great Minds. You'll see the app Great Minds. That's just the company that hosts Eureka. That is our core curriculum for math in the district. What that means is that's the main instructional tool that's used by all teachers across the district, and it's the board approved materials. We also have a supplemental app, which is Dreambox. So again, Eureka Math, you've probably seen the books. They're all the green books you see coming home. So all students are provided with the print materials in the language that's used for instruction. So that means all DLI students get the print materials in Spanish, and any non-DLI students receive the information in English. So their books are in English. But the good news is that the online resources provide both. So that's where we're going to spend more of the time this evening. So accessing the Eureka Online materials is done by logging into your child's Clever account, and then you'll look for this app that says Great Minds. Now, this slide here, it's going to show you the steps to take to access the materials, but then I'm going to go show you a live version of what it looks like. But I presented the slide so that you can always go back to it to remember if you would like to do so. So what you do is when you log into Great Minds, you'll first want to click on that Find tab on the left-hand side of the screen. Then you will select your child's grade level, and they will have access to all grade levels. So you will need to scroll to get to the correct one. Then you'll select the module, which is like the chapter. Think of like a chapter that your child's working on. And then after that, you can go to the topics to find the lessons. Now, if you look where the topics are and then you go all the way over to the right, that will give you the lesson numbers, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of this screen for a minute to show you first how to identify, like, how do I know what module and lesson my child is on? So if you go to any page on Eureka, so anything, I have an English one up here right now, but the Spanish ones are exactly the same, just in Spanish. But up on the top right-hand side, what you'll see there is you'll see that 3, and then there's a circle, and then the 5. 3 means 3rd grade, so that should be your child's grade level. The 5, that's the module. So I would go 3rd grade, module 5, and then the lesson number is right here. So if you're looking for resources for a specific module and lesson, that's how you can locate that. Now, when you log into Clever, you can go to your child's page. Their apps may be in a different order, okay? So just know that the first one may not be like PBS Kids here. So you'll find the one that says Great Minds. It's down here for me. And when you open up, it's going to look like the slide that I just showed you a few moments ago. So it'll greet your child. Obviously, looking at this, it doesn't know what time it is here, but we're just going to go with it. So on the left-hand side, you'll select Find. And then from here, you can use the left and right arrows to find the grade level you would like to get to. And then again, you would find the module here. Now, within each module, there are lots and lots of resources to support you. So the very first one that's available is called the Parent Tip Sheet. So if you click on this, it will open up to English by default. So if you need the English version, you can use this one. But if you would prefer the Spanish version, right here, there's a button and you just click over to Spanish and it translates. It's the translated version. What's available here for you is they give you an overview of the key concepts that will be taught in the module. You'll notice that some words are bold. Those are going to be academic vocabulary as well as processes used in Eureka to support the students. If you scroll down, what you'll see is they'll provide you with sample problems as well as the answers. It will also give you tips for ways you can help at home. And then down here, you'll see the vocabulary. So this is key vocabulary that's used. And so you can use both the English and the Spanish to help your students. There are also models, because a lot of times the models that we see today in math aren't the models that we learned from. And so if you see something like 5 group cards and you're thinking, what in the world are 5 group cards? You can see here what they look like and how they're shown. Okay, and so that's available for every single module, and they're the tips for parents. Now I'm going to click on the back arrow to navigate back. So in addition to that parent tip sheet, You also have resources for every single lesson in Eureka. And so you'll see that for every lesson, there's a daily video that's a brief instructional video for students. And on the videos have the text in English, but the audio will be in Spanish for if you would like to hear it in Spanish. Okay, so again, this here, you'll see it's in English, but when I press play, it will be in Spanish. But all of the other resources are available completely in both English and Spanish. So the learn is typically what the students do in class, and the succeed is what the students typically do for homework. So if I click on a succeed page, just like with the other materials, it will by default take you to English, but then you can switch it to Spanish here. Okay. It will give Spanish and English sample problems. It gives these responses here. So anything here that's in a speech bubble, that would be a way a student could describe the answer or explain it out loud. And here you'll see these again to explain the thinking. And then after the homework helper, which is intended to help the parents, then you'll see the actual homework for students. So it's here. And again, you can toggle back and forth between English and Spanish for all of these resources. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to quickly talk about the supplemental resource that we also have. And so the supplemental resource that we have is called Dreambox. Dreambox is available in both English and Spanish. You access it in the same way by going to Clever, and then you select Dreambox. Whatever the setting is for your child from their teacher, that will be the language that it shows up for your student. So if by some chance they've been assigned the incorrect language, please reach out to Esther and Patricia and they can let me know, and I can go in and I can reset the language to Spanish if it's needed. Dreambox is different than our core curriculum because, first of all, it is not used for our primary instruction, and it's unique for each student. So what it's intended to do is meet students where they are. So for example, if you have a third grade student and they're using Eureka Math core curriculum, they will always have Eureka Math core curriculum in their assigned grade level. But that same third grader may be ready for more. Let's say they're ready to take on higher grade level standards. That's where Dreambox comes into play, because if the student shows proficiency in prior grade level standards, it will push them forward so they can learn new content that isn't a part of their grade level standards. It can also do the same thing to support students who may have some gaps to fill, so some missing understandings. So you can have another third grade student who may be missing some foundational skills from first grade, and Dreambox would be the tool that goes back and works on filling in those gaps from prior grade levels. So this one is more adaptive than the Eureka because that's intended only to focus on the grade level standards. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pause right now and I can answer any questions that you have.
Laura, I just want to add a comment that I absolutely love knowing this. It's kind of like a secret skill to go on and find these pages, because there have been many a time that my kids come home with homework and I just can't understand it. I can't decipher what it's asking. And I can see the math so plainly, but being able to go online to this format and just maybe even print out the English version to give my child a better understanding. It's been so helpful. So thank you for pointing that out to our families.
You're welcome. And then another thing I forgot to tell you is you can do exactly that. So if you prefer to see it like on an actual piece of paper, all of the materials are downloadable and printable. So if you just want like a homework sheet, so you have the English as your child's working in Spanish, you're welcome to do that.
And also as a saving grace, if my student has conveniently left their homework at school, we're able to go online and print it out and say, oh, here you go. You can go ahead and use this.
Absolutely. I've done that with even my own children.
Any other questions for Miss Laura? Anyone out there new to this program or this understanding? We did just in our last session go over how to access Clever to parents that are new to the digital age of the apps and what's available. So this kind of fits nicely into that.
I don't see any questions on the chat, Ashley.
Okay. Thank you, Jackie.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask
Yes.
a question really quick? I know that the test, some of the teachers have spoken to me as far as the testing is done in English. Is there anything that can help these students prepare for the testing since it's done in English and they're learning it in Spanish? Because I've heard that a lot of the students have been trouble like translating a lot of the terms back to English. So there's something that can help them to prepare for the testing that they do in the middle of the school year. Like my kids are testing all this week, but a lot of the teachers were telling me that their students were having trouble because they're having to take the test in English, but they're learning it in Spanish. So
Yes. So our district assessments are in English, and they are in English because they are intended to give us information about what's going to happen on SBAC or the CASP, the end of the year state assessment, which is also in English. Now I'm going to ask Esther to give us the advice about instructionally what can be done, because her understanding is much deeper on like what can be done within a DLI classroom versus what is not okay to be done. Is that okay, Esther?
Yes, yes, of course. And we have discussed this with district level decision makers. And it's like Laura says, this happens to all of our students, including our English learners, where they take all of the testing is in English, regardless, because it really gives us a window as to how our students and how our district is going to do achievement-wise in district-wide. And so that's one of the reasons we take it. We have explained that to the teachers. We have talked to them. We also have discussed with the program that we're using to see if they provide or if they can soon provide a Spanish assessment through FastBridge, because I know we use FastBridge for the assessment. Laura, I have to give her a lot of credit, because when it comes to assessments from Eureka to assess, give them quick assessments or checking for understanding, she has gone above and beyond and translated so many of our assessments within the program. Now the teacher can use those assessments, which we've also shared with them, to monitor the progress of math in Spanish. So we have that, we have Dreambox in Spanish, and so opportunities to monitor the learning progress of our students. We do have them available. The only things we don't have available are the assessments, the district assessments, because they have a very specific purpose. So so that's really the reason, Bianca.
And I can see
Go
the
ahead.
new question. Yeah. Are we going the same way?
We have, yep, another question, but if you can see it, I'll let you read it.
Yeah, no problem. I can see it. So for every module in Eureka, there is a list of vocabulary. And so that's available on that Clever app. So if you go to the Clever app in Grapevines, and it's on what's called the parent tip sheet. So the parent tip sheet has vocabulary for the unit, and it introduces things like number bonds and other terms that you may not be familiar with that are used within the curriculum.
Laura, I have one more question, and this is sort of outside of the realm of elementary. I'm just curious, are these types of supports available at the middle and high school level where you can easily access English and Spanish? Because I am sure the math is going to get harder from here on out. And just curious for future me, what that looks like.
Right. I would have to ask my counterpart in secondary math what's available digitally. But I do know that the curriculum they use, I have personally gone online and just created an account for it for middle school math. And when I log in, just with a free account, so even if it wasn't available in Clever, I can see English and Spanish resources side by side. So if all else fails, email me and I'll give you like the secret parent route.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, I think that's it. Laura, thank you so much for joining us again. We really appreciate your guidance and explaining all of these parts to us parents. It's very useful, so thank you.
Thank you for having me. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Laura. Okay. I am going to continue presenting.
Thank you, Esther.
Yes. And so that we can move on to, and yes. So that we can move on to some announcements. Our DLI application for After Window is open on our DLI webpage through riversideunified.org. This application, please know that this application is to create a wait list. However, we do recruit students for some of the schools that still need some more children. Recruiting bilingual or Spanish-speaking students to meet the 50-50 student makeup. We are currently actively recruiting our bilingual and Spanish-speaking students because even though we had a great turnout of applicants in the first application. We had over 350 students, and which was great, but we had few that were Spanish or bilinguals. So I have several spots for that 50% bilingual or Spanish in just about all of my sites except at Jefferson. So Jefferson, we're almost full in both English and in Spanish. But I do still need to recruit some children for Fremont, Longfellow, and for Washington. So if you can please help me spread the word, the application is fully open. We created a QR code for the application. If you do not know how to, or you just don't want to bother going into the website, use this QR code. I know that Ashley is really good about posting this information in your Facebook. So use the QR code. It will take you straight into the application so that you don't have to go through web page and open up, different pages or anything like that. So that's for the application. So please apply. We do need bilingual students and Spanish speaking students. Dates to calendar, important dates, February 14th, of course, is Valentine's Day. Please make sure that you guys celebrate and enjoy your children. Valentine's Day is for friendship, for love, and to really show our children how much we absolutely love them. Especially, during this week where I know that some of our schools are going through some scary times. Washington went through some very scary times today. So hug your children and let them know how much you love them, especially on Valentine's Day. February 17th and 20th, there will be no school. We are celebrating Lincoln's Day and President's Day. So mark it on your calendar because there will be no school. Believe it or not, as principal, I always had 1 or 2 students who always showed up on no school days. So please help me spread the word so that they don't go to school already and there's no school. We have I'm really proud to announce this free mini conference that will take place on February 25th. I am part of the CABE which means California Association of Bilingual Education. It's a very large association that covers the entire state of California. And there are several chapters. I believe there are 19 chapters. Riverside is chapter 6. I belong to the group, and this year it is the very first time that we organize a mini conference with the focus on parents. We want to make sure that we bring in workshops that interest parents and that will support parents. The biggest ask of parents right now is, how do I support my child with behavior at home, or how do I discipline my child in, not in a negative way, but in a way that will be loving, but at the same time that that will work, that they'll know that there's boundaries and expectations, routines, structures. So we're going to have some of those workshops for our parents. And just a variety of workshops. The flyer is also, you can find the flyer on the QR code. It does give you some of the workshops that we will have. It is completely free. Take advantage. It's completely free, and it's only half a day. It's not a full day. It will run from 8 to 12 p.m. We will provide food. We will have some raffles, and we will have vendors. Some of our vendors have been very generous, and they are the reason why we are able to provide this mini conference for free. So come in and enjoy, learn about bilingual education, the importance of bilingual education, and then some workshops that will benefit parents.
Esther, before I'm kind of looking at the slide deck. Were you going to give an update for those parents that have applied to the DLI program? The acceptance letters?
Yes, the acceptance letters actually, I believe we sent out the last ones last Friday. And then I know that my secretary is also emailing the applications. So the only ones that we have not applied, we're waiting for the lottery results. As you know, we send out the lottery, we send out. Some of the students that we do accept right away are the siblings. We make sure that we keep the families together. And so if you have a child who has a sibling and you applied for kindergarten, those are the letters that are already mailed out. Some of if we have space, if we know we're going to have space, like at Jefferson, Longfellow, Fremont, School of Residence, if Fremont, Longfellow, Washington, if that's your home school, you belong there and I have space, I don't have to go through a wait list or a lottery, then we automatically accept you. But we have sent out the notices. I know that my secretary has been very busy sending out notices for about 2 weeks, because we've been working on that for about 2 weeks. So sometimes parents don't get their notices because we either have a wrong email or a wrong address. And I will not know if the address was incorrect until about maybe 2 to 3 weeks when we get the letter back. And then when we get it back, what we do is we actually pick up the phone, call the parents, say your letter came back. Can you provide the correct answer, the correct address? Sometimes they move, sometimes they misspell the streets, sometimes they don't give us the zip codes. I mean, it's a variety of reasons. But we do get several letters back, and then we have to submit them. So, but we have submitted, we have sent out the acceptance letters for all of the students that we are able to accept right now. As soon as I get the lottery with the numbers, then we will notify those parents of their lottery space and the wait list number that they have, also via letter. And if we do not accept your child for one reason or another, we do have parents who apply and their child is TKH. They do get notified that we are not going to accept them because we do not offer transition of kindergarten in DLI. But yes, that's a big task, but we're up to date, and the last one is just the lottery.
Thank you, Esther. I think we do
Yes.
have a question from a Fernanda Padilla. Fernanda, you could unmute and ask your question, please. Fernanda.
A mí, mi hijo
Hola.
es para el high school. Él va a ir, él está en Gage, pero va a ir a high school en Poly. ¿Cómo yo voy a saber que él va a seguir siendo de DLI? ¿Y cómo sé cuando ya no son aprobados para DLI?
Yeah, if your child has been in DLI and they are in the 8th grade, I've already submitted the list of all the students who will be transitioning to Poly from Gage Middle School. All of their names are in the hands of Poly already. And I've also requested the transfers for the parents. I know that the transfers are in process right now at the Child Welfare and Attendance. They are the ones that grant and process all of the transfers. But if you're in DLI, they will grant you a transfer to Poly. So you will know if your child was accepted either by sending me an email and I can tell you, yay, we do not send out notices for the middle school and for the high school students. But the high schools and the middle schools will soon begin to notify parents and students of their orientation week, of some of the activities that they have, the clubs that they have, and a lot of really good information. Once you receive that information, then that's proof that your child will be attending Poly. And honestly, I've submitted about 98% of all of our students because we did have a couple of parents who notified me that they were opting out of DLI. So if you would like to know, Senora Padilla, if you would like to know for sure, you can feel free to call me tomorrow or send me an email and I can verify with you that your child's name was submitted already to Poly. I know we have another Mrs.
Okay.
Tran.
Sí. Perdón. Lo que pasa es que también tengo mi otro hijo que se atrasó en Poly, pero él estaba en DLI y lo mandaron a Lincoln para hacer los puntos que le hacían falta, pero nunca me notificaron que ya no seguiría en DLI, que ya él no se iba a graduar para DLI y eso me puso un poco mal porque sé que él hizo mucho esfuerzo para recuperar sus grados, para graduarse de DLI, porque sé que ese es un recurso que le ayudará mucho a mi hijo. Y cuando recibí el email que él ya no estaba en DLI, pues me sentí un poco confusa porque nunca me avisaron que él ya no era de DLI hasta que yo mandé el email y ella me dijo que, tu hijo ya no es DLI. Y yo me preguntó cómo decidiste que ya no era DLI cuando ya está a 6 meses de graduarse.
Mm-hmm. Luis, do you want to translate that? Or I can translate. This parent is basically asking that her child was left the DLI program at Poly. He enrolled at Lincoln to do some credit recovery and then returned this year to Poly to continue. He transitioned back, but he couldn't go back to Poly because leaving Poly, he automatically dropped from DLI. The parent is saying that nobody notified her that he would no longer be a DLI student. Señora Padilla, I have spoken to you. I did email you, and maybe I can call you back tomorrow. It would have to be in the later afternoon. I do have to provide some training tomorrow morning, but maybe I can talk to you again and explain to you the reason why we denied the return of your child to our DLI program. I don't want to do it in public because it's a little bit complicated and there's a lot of confidential information that I will not share in this meeting, but I will be more than happy to call you again and talk to you through the process again. Okay. We do have another hand raised, Mr. and Mrs. Tran. I could just see Tran.
Yes. Hi, Esther.
Hi.
I have I have a question about the intervention program at for the school, the after school. I guess, can it be open to all students, or where the parents feel that their child needs the intervention instead of the school dictating the criteria to be enrolled in it? Because my son is not a Spanish speaker, but he's enrolled in DLI for vocabulary, language, and things like that. He does well, but the conversational aspect of it, he doesn't do well because we don't speak Spanish at home. So there isn't an opportunity be outside of the class for him to have that. I guess that opportunity. So, is there a way where the intervention program it could be expanded?
Are you talking about our tutoring program?
No, it's an intervention program where I think I learned about it from where they had it at Castleview, and the principal told me that it's only open to students that are deemed that needs intervention in the program. It's not open to everyone.
Okay, Mr. Tran, I'm gonna have to take your information and take note of this so that I can maybe talk to the principal. And if you can share your child's name on the chat box, that way I know exactly who your child is. And then that way I can learn a little bit more, because every school has their own intervention program, whether it's before school, after school. But then as you also know, we have the after school program, we have our own tutoring program. And so I just want a little bit more information from the principal, and then we will be more than happy to get back to you and explain to you why certain children are selected and other children are not. And that way you can have a little bit more clarity. Can we do that?
Yeah, I could forward you her email.
Okay, that would be amazing.
Okay.
Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you. We do have another hand raised, Teresa. I think it's Teresa. I'm sorry,
Yes.
I minimized everything, so.
Yeah. My question is, what kind of, so my son will be attending Ramona next year. He's in DLI, and what kind of classes are in Ramona?
Ramona offers the same coursework as Poly does. Our DLI program has a very clear pathway in regards to coursework. So your child will have the same coursework that we are taking at Poly. The only difference is that Ramona started the science because they did have a certificated teacher to teach science in the 9th grade. But next year, the children who are now in 9th grade will be taking the world history for DLI in Spanish. And so your child will be on the A through G track. That's very important in their program. All of our DLI students are A through G and will graduate A through G. That means they will graduate ready for college. If they choose to go to college, they will be ready to do so. He will have his A through G requirements of English, language arts, mathematics, history, science, social studies, and he will of course have some of the electives if he chooses to have some of the electives. So it will be the same schedule as Poly. It would be the same schedule as all of the other high schools. The only difference is that our courses are AP courses or honors courses, and all of our students are A through G.
So is it 2 class? I missed the beginning of the meeting because I didn't remember till 6. Sorry.
That's okay.
But so I missed that part. But is it 2 classes a year for DLI, or how many? Because right now in middle school, they have the Spanish class for AP, and then they have like 8th grade, they have science. So as a freshman, what will they have another Spanish class and then try to get like an AP test for Spanish literature? Is there something like that offered?
Yes, we will have a Spanish class in the 9th grade at Ramona. And my wish and my hope, and Patricia and I are kind of working on it right now, is for our high school students to have 2 Spanish courses. science and in history. However, for right now, we only have one Spanish class, and of course the Spanish literature, AP, Spanish literature, that they also take. And the Spanish class that they do take in history is for the amount of courses that they are required to take based on the A through G.
When do they find that information? At the end of 8th grade, do they get their schedules, or is it the beginning of 9th grade?
No, they will get it, I think before the end of the 8th grade. So I know that schools begin to contact their future students around March, end of February, March. And then they start working with them on their schedules before they go on summer vacation.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. I cannot see the chat box, so if you guys can guide me if there are any more questions.
I think that's it from here, Esther. We can probably move on to the next slide. Thank you for taking the time to clarify all of those questions. I think so often that's just as much of importance in this meeting than the things that we plan to speak about. So I know all the parents really appreciate the transparency. Our next and last two meetings of the year are March 8th, 2023 and April 12th, 2023. Next slide, please, Esther. Thank you.
Sorry,
Our-
my computer froze for a little bit.
That's okay. Of course, our meetings are always on Wednesdays at 5:30. It's the same Zoom link for every meeting. So should you lose it one time and need to find it another time, it's always the same one if you can save it in your settings. I like to take screenshots of it. That's always helpful. A little bit more here. We've shared Esther's email address in the chat, but if you need it again, it is here. Take a picture of it if you need that. If you'd like to contact me directly, that's my personal email address. We also have an RUSD Somos DLI Facebook page. We post actively on any of our upcoming meetings or follow-up questions or any pertinent information is there. And additionally, we have a Google site. Thank you, Esther, that the link for it is down there. And we post all of our old recordings and our old slide decks, so you can watch them simultaneously and download the slide deck and go through it and watch the meeting so you understand what they're seeing and why the conversation goes the way that it does. Please reach out with any questions, and we really appreciate all of you for being with us in this community, and have a lovely evening. And thank you so much, Esther. And to our translator, Luis, thank you so much.
Esther, is the number on the chat correct for you? Not that I don't trust you, Ashley, but just to make sure we're routing them to the right place.
I would totally do that and write the wrong numbers. Not like to sabotage, but just because I get a little mixed up.
Yeah. The number for what, Jackie?
To contact you, Esther.
Oh, got
If
it.
you look in the chat, I typed
Yes.
one in.
Is it
Oh, awesome.
788-7135 extension 80721?
Yes,
Okay.
you are correct.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, parents.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Louise.
The end of these meetings is like when you close one of those card games on your computer and all of the cards fall, watching all the screens disappear. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. 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 Yes, and I'm sorry I didn't want to address the parent concern about the school student returning to, but there is a lot of confidential information that I'm not able to share with. So I'll call her again tomorrow. I've spoken to her, I've written her. Patricia has spoken to her, and I mean, I hate not being able to help students when my hands are tied, but my
Sure.
hands are completely tied on this one.
Yeah, well, and I think you did the right thing shutting it down, and she probably was trying to get more info, like anyone would. But
Right, right.
it's
So
good to
yes.
remain confidential.
Yes.
We're just here to facilitate conversation, but
Yes.
not to
Yes.
get in the middle of anything else.
Right, yeah, but I'll call her tomorrow. I'll make sure to call her again tomorrow.
Cool.
So anyways, thank you so much. As
Thank
always,
you, Esther.
as
Thank
always,
you.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Esther.
And
Thank
by
you.
the way, it was great meeting Jackie and Ashley in person. So it was awesome. So thank you.
It's great.
Maybe we
meeting
can
you.
organize like a little luncheon or something for us
Yes.
at the end of the year.
That would be very fun.
All right. I'll see you guys. Take care.
Okay.
Bye, Esther.
Bye.